In this day and age, racism should be a thing of the past. It really should be. My Anthony embrace, he was full of life. The snippets you used was just the epitome of my son. He's always full of laughter, joy, and that's what makes us carry on, because if we didn't know about his humor, no matter how bad the situation was, he always let you realize, listen, there's another side to it.
Well, I was very struck by the Anthony Walker case, and I saw the news footage of G standing on the steps of the courthouse forgiving the perpetrators, and I was very moved by that. I think everybody was incredibly moved by the way she spoke with forgiveness, and it made everybody who watched it think, God, if only I could be that merciful given what had happened to my child. I put it away in my heart and in my head that if anything happened where I could do something for that family, then I would bust a gut to do it. Colin McEwen called me and said, all right, Lenny, doesn't talk like that, but you know, all right, Lenny, lads, do you want to come and make a film about Anthony Walker, like? And he doesn't talk like that at all. He came down to London to meet me, and he said he wanted to work with the Walker family because Dominique wants to go out to schools and talk about racism, and perhaps have a film that she could use as a teaching aid to talk to young people about racism and about what happened to Anthony and why, and how we can change things for future generations.
Well, first of all, Lenny Henry is absolutely right. I don't talk like that. The project started like for most people. They were inspired by the words of G. Walker. I was inspired by them, the writer was inspired by them, Lenny Henry was inspired by them. I know Brian Hall was inspired by them from Liverpool Football Club, and the synchronicity was the focus that she created, but from so many people, by her wonderful, wonderful words. The whole project has been a great opportunity to carry on the continuity of work that we've done. We've tackled some really difficult subjects with the Liverpool Film Academy. All of the projects have ended up on the Citizens curriculum. All of them have been films which come along in an educational pack. And one of the subject matters that was a great opportunity to tackle was racism. And via Lenny and his thought processes on taking a comedy genre and treatment to it, it was fascinating to put this together, and God willing it'll have the desired results.
There were a couple of ideas that were more direct and more literal about the Anthony Walker case, and they were discarded fairly quickly because we just thought, well, we don't want to be too on the nose with this because people will feel like they're being lectured. And I said at some point, have you seen Watermelon Man? Watermelon Man is about a really offensive racist white guy who's a businessman who suddenly becomes black. Just everything goes wrong, and he realises through experience what he's been going through. And I said, maybe we could, in our own way, do the Watermelon Man experience for a family in any town up north. And it seemed to be a strong idea, and it had the potential for black comedy. Filming in Mrs. Khan's set, I think, and Dominique and Brian from Liverpool Football Club showed up, and she came and sat next to me and everything, and I was saying, is this all right? Do you think it's going to be okay? She said, yeah, fine. And I said, is it okay that it's funny?
I'm expecting to have bleeding veins.
And she said, absolutely. She said, Anthony loved comedy. He would hate to have something associated with him that was somber and a bit dull. And I think what's great about this film is that it's dynamic, it makes points, but it is also funny. the swap over, the mutation, was always going to happen in the film, because that's the unique selling point of the film, you know, that this sort of marginally racist white family become black for a day and have a horrible day and then have a bit of a sea change in their life. It was always going to happen.
What have you done with John?
It was clear to me that it would only work if the white family have very expensive prosthetics. Then I was told very quickly, about the prosthetics, it's not going to happen. Tommy, the sound man, said, well, you should just revoice them. Have those guys revoice those guys so that it stays. So it was quite an important thing that the actors were good actors, because they were going to have to be revoiced. So I think they did a very, very good job.
Oh, why use this, Mrs. Khan? Not a packy.
I'm not that Mrs. Khan again. I was only round here yesterday.
Well, you obviously didn't do a good enough job.
Look, I know you is the Don Dada and all, but she's one feisty woman. She just keeps dissing me.
Neil Fitzmaurice makes his change plausible. Kenny as well, who plays Black John, emotes incredibly well all of the problems that they go through. The young people in the cast too had to portray unpleasant things, and they were very thoughtful about it. Nobody went into it and just did it. They all came in and said, you know, I'm going to say the N-word. Is this okay? And I said, yeah, it is, because, you know, you're an actor. You're portraying somebody who's not a very nice person, but that's not you. It's okay.
See what was written on the front door? Go home, Nick.
The scenes that really get to me are the boy being beaten up.
Come on!
Him trying to get up really puts me away every single time. Mum putting the stuff on her face, trying to use the skin lightening cream when she looks in the mirror, that's incredibly sad. I think Danny at the dinner table, just before he runs off, that always kills me, you know.
Working with Lenny Henry was a joy. He really knew how to motivate the crew. His ideas were always invaluable.
So he walks to his locker, he's not expecting anything, he opens it, oh God!
He's very inspirational, he kept the crew motivated. He's just a joy to work with.
Lamar gave his time and his talent to this project. Jacko, Michael Jaksic, who's in there, Chris Porter, who's a very famous producer, did it for nothing. You know, from Colin down to runners, we all gave our time. And I think we've come up with something that's very good. I think it's a really good little film.
When I first saw it, I cried. And the funny bits, I laugh. And I thought, I just pray and hope that it does provoke thoughts, and the end result that my hope and my heart's desires to be minds will be affected. And the bottom line of it all is for that change to come. Because when I watched the end result, black and white, holding hands, that's what it's all about. Living together side by side, walking hand in hand.
There is a serious message behind this comedy drama. And, you know, one hopes that the children watching will pick up on all these ideas and understand how evil racism is. Lenny
Come up with the incredibly brilliant proposal, I must admit. We don't do compliments much in Liverpool, but it was an incredible thing to come up with comedy as a way to attack racism. I think too often it's done in a very hard-hitting way, and this wasn't. It was done in a very comedic way, and therefore it creates an interesting access point without being on the nose, as it were.
This will form the foundation for where we hope to go with the programme, and it's something new and innovative as well, you know, using new media to reach children as well, because everyone's at home watching either TV, DVDs, it's all your iPods and stuff like that, so it's a new way to reach children also, and get a positive message out there.
My message to kids out there is, you know, to try and achieve their dreams, to work as hard as they can, day in, day out, to try and achieve it, because it is possible. You know, never ever, you know, lose faith that it won't happen. Just keep trying, you know, to achieve what you want, whether that is to be a footballer or whatever walk of life you want to go down. You know, just keep working hard every day.
Be confident in who you are. You are an individual. You do not have to follow the mass. You do not have to buckle under peer pressure. Don't let someone dictate out there who you should be, but be who you want to be. And hopefully it's a confident, strong, beautiful, inside and outside individual.
To have Liverpool Football Club's involvement is fantastic. They were one of the original commissioning source of it all via Brian Hall and his community work, and subsequently he's brought Stephen Gerrard, who is very, very supportive of the project, and clearly he's another Heightonian. So Heighton is something that we're you know, very, very keen on restoring the balance of, because the whole project has quote question marks over that area and over racism in general.
The initiative to kick racism out of football is a hugely important thing and must be attended to. It's a great thing, that.
Well, obviously from the football side of it, I've played with teammates who, you know, who have been abused on the pitch, and you know, it's not good. You know, you are aware of it. You can hear the chants. But I think it has improved in football. It's improving all the time, and hopefully one day, you know, it'll be, you know, kicked out for good. Because no one wants it in the game.
What is extremely emotional in the film is the end sequence, the graveyard sequence, when all of the characters appear as themselves. All of the characters go to Anthony Walker's grave, and quite rightly the film ends where it should end, paying homage to Anthony Walker, who inspired this thing and you know, this project in the first place. It was an emotional thing to shoot, it was an emotional thing to see, and I know it was, from Lenny's point of view, a very emotional element of the film to direct.
Shooting at Anthony's graveside was incredibly emotional for everyone. It's the end of the film. All of the cast, as themselves, come to the graveside and pay respect to this young man who was taken from us far too early. And for me, that's the crux of the film, is that this is what ignorance can lead to if we're not careful. It's happened before, and it's our responsibility to try and ensure that it doesn't happen again.
The last bit at the end just sort of sum up my son. Just integrity. He was forgiven.